Uhuru. Uhuru means freedom, and welcome everyone to today's Burning Spear newspaper first webinar on Black August 2019, themed Africans Have a Right to Resist. My name is Oliver Nakimba. I'm the managing editor of the Burning Spear newspaper. And before we begin, I would like to say we are obliged to begin today's program with the announcement that our dear comrade Omowale Kefing passed. He is a longtime editor, and he was the strongest advocate of the Burning Spear newspaper. He passed away Monday, July 29, 2019. And we dedicate this broadcast to and our entire Black August campaign to our beloved Comrade Kefing, whose heroic stand sets the standard for us all to emulate. So this video features an interview with Comrade Kefing, who details the significance of the Burning Spear newspaper, Uhuru.
Uhuru, my name is Alofa Nakimba, and I currently serve as the managing editor of the Burning Spear newspaper under the leadership of Akile Anai, who is the editor-in-chief. I'm joined by Comrade Omowale Kefing, longtime party member of the African People's Socialist Party since 1974, and a Burning Spear staff member since 1977. Comrade Kefing was an editor-in-chief from 1982 to 1988, and again from 2012 to 2015. And he currently serves as the chief political editor of the Burning Spear newspaper. Uhuru Kefing.
Uhuru Comrade, Elephant. Thank you for having me on.
Uhuru, it is an absolute honor to be interviewing you today. So without further ado, we're going to get started with the questions. Okay, so how did you first meet the party? Had you been involved in any kind of organizing prior to this, and why did you choose to join the African People's Socialist Party?
Well, I first met the party through the Burning Spear newspaper. I was at an African Liberation Day demonstration in Washington, D.C. This had to be 1974. And someone from the party was there selling the Burning Spear newspaper. I bought one. When we got back to Atlanta, that's where I was living at the time, we did a couple of studies around the party's line, and I pretty much liked what I was reading there, you know. So that was my first encounter with the African People's Socialist Party, was through the Burning Spear newspaper, and it kind of has stuck with me since that time, the importance of having that party down in the streets with the people. And again, you know, the Burning Spear, it served as so many other things. Let me tell you, it's like in promotion of the struggle to free Desert Woods, you know. Couldn't nothing have served a better purpose than the Burning Spear newspaper. And I worked in Atlanta for some years. Love to see the chairman come through to Atlanta, you know, so we could do some program with it, just talk to him and stuff. But one thing, if you would give us a choice between who we wanted to come, the chairman of our Burning Spear newspaper, I think we would choose the Spear every time, because that really gave us a chance to get out in that community and organize and talk to the people. So that's to show you how how high the Burning Spear newspaper was held and esteemed by the cadre on the ground. Everybody talked about the Burning Spear. Everybody wanted to be a part of the Burning Spear newspaper. In the summer of 1984, what we did, we did an Oakland summer project, which was actually 20 years following the Mississippi summer project that was done by the Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee down in Mississippi, that would produce the Black Power slogan 2 years later. Anyway, we were doing this Oakland Summer Project in the land reform law, and at the time, Jesse Jackson was fighting for the nomination of the Democratic Party. The slogan was "Run, Jesse, Run." So the front page of the Vernon newspaper, what it had a photo of Jesse Jackson. I think it was Angela Davis, Falcon, and a host of other leftists with the caption reading, the line forms to the left, that is associated, but the caption reading, "No confidence in the United States government, male or female, black or white, Democrat or Republican."
So do you have any words of advice for spear writers or spear sellers today?
Yeah, like the 4 hours that you spend on Facebook, take you a bone of Burning Spear newspaper, get on the corner, and I guarantee you will come out of that with a real friend as opposed to a cyber friend who people say anything they want to online. You've got a million experts and nobody expert about nothing, So I'm suggesting that that spear sellers, take this mission seriously and get your bundle. Go out there and see how much more lively and uplifting that is, as opposed to being on some, a social media page for 4 or 5 hours. In regard to the spear writers, we've got so many people with these cameras, shooting police murders and police beatings. I suggest I know we've got a writing team in the spear, but we also have cadre out there that things are happening in their neighborhoods that they should write about. If they write about it and get it to us, we can do the copy editing, proofread, and political editing and make sure that story gets out. Send us a picture of that person in your neighborhood that you want to be in that newspaper. We put that picture in the newspaper. You ride in the hood, you sell the Burning Spear newspaper. You write about their problem, they read about their problem. So I just really believe we've got the best tool in the arsenal of the party is the Burning Spear newspaper, and that's a fact.
So I'm joined by my leadership at Keelan, who is the editor-in-chief of this paper. And just to give you a quick overview of the Burning Spear newspaper, it is the oldest revolutionary newspaper in continued existence, being in publication since 1968. And it was created by the chairman and founder of the Uhuru movement, Omowale, who was then known as Joe Waller, for the purpose of not having just alternative media, but one that contends with the ideas of the bourgeois or white ruling class media towards the ultimate goal of African liberation. And since then, it has been instrumental in organizing black communities here in the U.S., Europe, the Caribbean, and on the continent of Africa itself, informing them with the revolutionary theory of African internationalism. That is the practical theory of the Uhuru movement and the African working class overall, no matter where we're located. And so much more can be said about the Burning Spear newspaper, so much more. But that's a general overview of your Black Power newspaper. So for more information and to get your revolutionary analysis of world events, you can visit theburningspear.com. And we'll be mentioning our site pretty often, so you'll have that committed by memory by the end of this webinar. But I wanted to get more into why we're here. As you may be aware, today is the first day of Black August 2019, and Black August is a month noted for historic revolutionary moments and acts of resistance. It was initiated by political prisoners in California, starting with the heroic acts of resistance by the Soledad brothers starting in 1970 to the San Quentin Rebellion in 1971. And there were so many other acts of resistance that we commemorate that happened in the month of August, like the victorious Haitian Revolution, which happened in August of 1971, the Gabriel Prosser Slave Rebellion that happened in August 30th, 1800, the Nat Turner Slave Rebellion, which happened in August 21st, 1831, the Ferguson Rebellion that happened in August 2014 after the police assassination of 18-year-old Mike Brown, and just so many more like historic acts of revolutionary resistance happened in Black August. So like other dates are the founding of Marcus Garvey's UNIA ACL, that's the United Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, and the adoption of our red, black, and green flag, the publication of the Negro World newspaper, and the birth of Marcus Garvey himself, who is a father of the Black Power movement and established the idea of a unified African nation and African people no matter where we're located. So there's so much more to cover in this month, and it'll be our absolute pleasure to do that for the entire month of August, not just for the sake of teaching, but for the sake of changing conditions of African people worldwide as the voice of the International African Revolution. And this will take all of your help, and so we have a goal tonight of raising $250 that will go towards keeping the spear burning and funding our Mafundi Lake Sponsored Prisoner Program, which was named after a heroic African political prisoner who built a powerful resistance movement from inside the Atmore Holman incarceration camp in Alabama. And this program ships subscriptions to our sisters and brothers behind bars free of charge. And that's pretty costly for us to do so, but it's a necessity that our sisters and brothers behind bars are connected to organized political life and analysis. So as I mentioned earlier, we have my comrade, the editor-in-chief of the Burning Spear newspaper, director of agitation and propaganda for the African People's Socialist Party, who not only oversees the Spear, but our Black Power radio station and all of our publications and literature of the Uhuru movement. And she is the force that oversees all the ideas of the movement and gave me the opportunity to speak before you. So this is Comrade Director Kileani. Anai, thank you for joining us.
Uhuru. Well, I want to appreciate and salute the managing editor of the Burning Spear, Olufin Akimba. And most of you, if you order the Spear, have any dealings with the newspaper, this is the person that you deal with. So good to be able to put a face with the name. And I just want to appreciate all of you for tuning in tonight to the kickoff webinar of the Burning Spear's Black August month-long celebration of African resistance. And, as mentioned, the Burning Spear is the oldest revolutionary newspaper in existence, and I'm honored to serve as its editor-in-chief, which is a huge role to fill. It's a lot of big shoes to fill, including our dear comrade Omowale Kefing, who, as you guys just heard an interview from, was a giant in the African Revolution, a giant in the struggle for freedom and independence for African people everywhere it is that we are. And, Omowale Kefing really does set the standard for every cadre in our movement and every participant in the Burning Spear, including every seller of the Burning Spear newspaper, that I can't think of anything that Kefing loved more, than the Burning Spear newspaper. African people, the African People's Socialist Party, Chairman Amali Eshatella, and the Burning Spear were clearly the loves of his life, and he lived a tremendous life, and we are just incredibly honored to be able to uplift Comrade Kefing, an African internationalist, African revolutionary who has fought in the trenches, who practically laid this foundation that we stand on with his bare hands. And, it's just a tremendous opportunity to be able to continue the work of the Burning Spear, the thing that he loved so much, and to call on all of you to continue your support of this over 50-year-old newspaper that was, began production in 1968 to bring, the African working class analysis to the colonies of, African colonies within the U.S. and around the world. That's been the only newspaper to actually articulate the material conditions of African people. And, it's, as mentioned, it's not just a place for information, news source gathering, but it's a tool of organization. It's a tool to organize African people into the revolution. It's a tool to, bring African people to the conclusion that it is that we need to come to in regards to what it's going to take to, liberate ourselves from these conditions that are imposed on us, these conditions of the slumlords, these conditions of police brutalization, these conditions of poverty and despair. The only way to it, the road is paved to freedom, and the only way to do that is through African revolution. And, one of the last things I wanted to say about, Comrade Omowale Kefing is that he understood the responsibility of the Burning Spear newspaper, not as just, again, an entity to, consume information, but as a necessity for African people everywhere. And that, with the newspaper, selling the newspaper, writing for the Spear, and all of the work it is that we do for this newspaper, it is an act of resistance. It's the act of resistance that we, do 365 days out of the year, and that African people are engaged in resistance every single day. We are resisting this system, and Kefing was, engaged in resisting capitalist colonialism every single day, especially every single day that he made a commitment to the Burning Spear newspaper. Every day that he fought for freedom, he was resisting, and that's what we carry with us. And we raise up Comrade Omowale Kefing. We want to be like Kefing, and we want to continue to resist this social system that is brutalizing African people on a daily basis. And as mentioned, Black August, there's really no explanation that we can give for why, all of these acts of resistance happen in August. Maybe it's the heat, I don't, well, if you're in Florida, maybe it's a little bit different from other places. But, if you're here in St. Petersburg, Florida, where we're broadcasting out of right now, I don't know if it's the heat or what, but, the resistance of African people in this particular month, I mean, these aren't small things that happen. These are real transformative moments in history that, we recall. And, that's why we celebrate this month, because it's a tradition. And that's one of the things that we have to be able to establish, because white power gives us the traditions and the holidays that we're supposed to celebrate, and even the Black holidays that we're supposed to, celebrate and anticipate. But this is ours. This is, a celebration of all African revolutionaries, all freedom fighters who, hate this social system, who want to be free. And, that this is our holiday. This is our month of celebration. Black August, we celebrate African resistance, and all forms of African resistance is just. And everything throughout history that we've seen that's happening, in the month of August, we raise up and give a revolutionary salute to, all our brothers and sisters throughout history that have fought and continue to fight against this system. And that's what we're going to do today with all of you, and, for you guys who can make a contribution to continue the work of the Burning Spear newspaper. And, as mentioned, we send this newspaper to over 600 Africans within the prison system. And that is no small feat. Not only is it expensive, but it's a critical tool in the hands of African people behind those walls, because they remove a sizable sector of the African population away from the revolution. And they throw us in prison, and, and a part of the counterinsurgency was throwing Africans into prison to prevent them from being able to organize. And so we recognize that millions of our brothers and sisters are locked up behind these walls, and that can't be the basis for them being taken completely out of political life. That we have a responsibility to organize those brothers and sisters behind those walls, because when they come out, they have to be prepared to join the ranks of the revolution, and they have to be able to go in there and organize all of their brothers and sisters to the same conclusion. Because that's one of the ways that we resist the conditions within the prison, by organizing Africans in the prison, because the conditions which we'll hear about today from some of our speakers, are hellish conditions that our people are put under. And one of the ways that we can fight this within prison is to organize our people. And, again, when they come out, they have to be able to come into the revolution, pick up right where they left off, and continue this forward motion. And that, the U.S. government, U.S. imperialism cannot have our brothers and sisters. They just throw them in there and they're completely discarded. We are fighting for them, and we are fighting for them to become African internationalist revolutionaries, because you can't even imagine the garbage that they put in these prisons for our brothers and sisters to consume. And the burning spear is really their lifeline to the African community and to the African world, to the nation, and what is happening in the world today. And it's the only thing that's providing an analysis for the basis for why they're even in prison. Because a lot of the times we indict ourselves and we succumb to the idea that white power puts in our heads about us, about ourselves, and succumb to the idea that this is where we belong, that we're supposed to be here. And no, we are here as a consequence of being enslaved, from being stolen from Africa, and being brought here to work against our will to build all of the white world. And that's why you're there, brother and sister. And so that's what the Burning Spear helps to articulate to our people. And it's really critical that we're able to continue this program, which we named Mafundi Lake Sponsored Prisoner Program. Mafundi Lake, as mentioned, was a political prisoner and fought to the very end as well to organize Africans within the prison. So we have to keep up that resistance, and especially in the month of August, where we're celebrating African resistance. So, I'm calling on all of you to, contribute to this $250 goal that we have tonight. It's a very doable goal. And, so I just want to call on you all throughout this program. It's a very jam-packed program that we have here today, and some really important speakers that we have. So celebrate this month of Black August with us. It was great to kick it off with all of you, and contribute to the Burning Spear today. $250, and go to theburningspear.com and make your contribution. Hooroo.
Hooroo. Thank you for that, Director Akile. And yes, absolutely. We already have some people who contributed to our Mafundi Lake Sponsored Prisoner Program and the Burning Spear. So we just want to give a shout out to Comrade Ann Hirsch in St. Pete, who donated $5. Woo-hoo. Comrade Bakari Alatunji in Oakland donated $20.
Uhuru Bakari.
Uhuru. Kyle Weiss, who is our webinar coordinator, donated $10.
Oh, Kyle.
Uhuru.
Pretend like he's not in the room.
Yeah. Santosh in St. Petersburg donated $15.
Uhuru Santosh.
Uhuru. Appreciate that, Santosh. And we have Comrade Lisa Watson in Minneapolis, Minnesota. She donated $40.
Ooh.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, Lisa.
Right on, Lisa. Right on. So thank you for that. And Comrade Jackson Hollingsworth, she donated $5.
Uhuru Jackson.
Uhuru. Comrade Sandy Sandy is in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
She donated $20.
Uhuru Sandy.
Uhuru. Thank you for that. I'm going to put in $40 for the Mafundi Lake Sponsored Prisoner Program. So we definitely got to keep the spear burning and get the spear into the hands of these brothers and sisters behind bars, because as stated by Director Akile, a lot of members of our African nation are behind those walls, and we have to continue to provide them that lifeline and let them know that there's somebody out there fighting for them, and let them know that somebody's out there fighting for the liberation and unity of all African people everywhere. And that's what the Burning Spear is doing. It's a tool of the African People's Socialist Party to do that, and we have to really struggle to make that happen. So I really appreciate everybody who contributed so far. And I also want to say Comrade Kota in Philadelphia, she pledged $25. So big shout out to Kota in Philadelphia.
Uhuru. A part of the Spear team.
A part of the Burning Spear team.
Uhuru.
She is an amazing Spear member. So definitely salute Comrade Kota. So now we want to welcome to this Black August kickoff webinar Musa Mata. He is the chairman of the Black August Organizing Committee and based in California. Mata was locked up in California for nearly 50 years, spending time in Vacaville, Folsom, Soledad, and Corcoran. And he spent 11 years in the solitary housing unit known as the SHU at the notorious Pelican Bay prison. He was in San Quentin at the time when George Jackson was there awaiting trial before he was murdered by the guards. So through all that, Brother Mata has remained strong and continues to fight for the rights of African prisoners since about his release 2 years ago. So we definitely want to welcome you on this program, Comrade Musa Mata Uhuru. So to begin, I'd like to ask you about the origins of Black August, and you were there. So please tell us how Black August got started.
Uhuru Musa, if you're on mute.
Yeah.
Hello?
Uhuru.
Yeah, Uhuru. Just want to welcome you to the program, and I was asking about the origins of Black August, and we know you were there when it happened. So can you please tell us about how this commemoration got started?
Yes, it was I guess, follow-up to the event starting on January 13, 1970, when W.L. Nolan, Alvin Miller, and Cleveland Edwards were killed on the Soledad Wing Yard. After that, we know we became a focal point after the false accusations when it was decided by the administration that murder was justifiable homicide, and then two officers in Soledad became up dead, and out of that we got the Soledad brothers of George Jackson Peter Drum Group and John Cluchette charged with the murder, and that August the 7th, George's younger brother Jonathan went into the Marin County Courthouse and in his infancy wanted to liberate James McLean, William Christmas, and Rochelle McGee so they could go to KPFA and denounce the condition that was started over there with all these killings of blacks in such a small limited time. We know the results of that. San Quentin guards shot up everything in the van, killed it up. Rochelle survived and has now today 64 years in prison. The next August, San Quentin administration, whatever, worked up a thing where they could murder George, and that happened. And so from that day on, we was basically celebrating January 13th, August 7th, and August the 21st. Then we had the next medical murder, August 1st, 1978. And Katari Gordon was playing football on the exercise yard and slipped and fell and hit his head. And administration, guards, whatever, parlayed, taking him off the yard and getting him some medical care for 4 hours. It was a 4-hour routine. So when we sat down after that, instead of adding another day as a remembrance of the fallen brothers we were losing, we decided just to take the whole month in 1979, August 1979. We just took the whole month and we named it Black August. And that's 40 years ago. We've been commemorating those individuals we done lost in our resistance to whole struggle, whole apparatus of incarceration. So that's how we got up to that's how we reached Black August, and from there we just in our studying and stuff we learned all kind of other things that work with Black August, and it helped us in our resistance, and so we've carried it for 40 years.
Definitely appreciate you for that background, Comrade Musa. And George and Jonathan Jackson, along with all of those who stood against oppression from inside the prison walls, we know them to be true heroes. Like, make no mistake about it, as like colonialism would define them as criminals, we know that these are true heroes that we must uplift as true revolutionary forces of the African Revolution. And so
that's been the thing we've tried to communicate to the community, throughout all these years. That's why we try to keep them alive in our mind. Like all of us, we can repeat their names time and time again and bring it to the public. Let them know who they were, because to us, they was real people. They was individuals that we interacted with. If not physically, mentally, and everything. So this is the thing we want to keep on the community's mind, and to understand, what those brothers went through and what we're still going through today. Because right now we have, like I say, Rochelle McGee, he has 64 years in prison. Romaine Fitzgerald, he has 60 years in prison. We have Paul Jones, a conglomerate of other brothers in there who got over 40 years in prison. And the legislature ain't wrote no law in their intent in California. I don't know about other states, but in California, until recently, they didn't give out those kind of years. But because you have parole board discretion, they are able to make those determinations and sit on people because they ain't following any kind of law. It's all about discretion.
Right. Absolutely. And we know the African People's Socialist Party, which publishes the Burning Spear newspaper each month, and it ships free to prisoners, any prisoner who requests it.
Doing a radio interview.
And we believe that prisons are a part of genocide against African people, where we experience so-called legalized slavery. So this is what we consider legalized slavery.
Like in my situation, since I was 13 years old, I've been on some type of probation or parole.
Mm-hmm.
That I've never gotten out since they took my mother and taken that deal when I was 13. And since then, they've had their hooks in me. Because they know how to get into our elders, and they think they're doing something good for us, but they're giving us to them.
Right. Absolutely. So I want to ask you another question, Comrade Musa, and that is, like, what kind of black labor exploitation is going on today in the prisons in California?
They have, I know at some facilities personally, I can't speak on all of them, but at the ones I've been to, they got a butcher shop there that brings in whole cows every day, chop them up, turn them into steaks or whatever they turn them into, but none of that meat is served inside the prison. They got coffee making. They bring in the coffee beans, grind them down, turn them into the coffee grind. But none of that coffee is served in prison. The only thing that they do that you might say is that in the textiles, they do make prison clothes, but they make all type of other clothes also.
Wow.
And that's in my limited knowledge. Because they got almost 40 prisons now, and they got something on nearly every yard for a PIA, prison industrial, whatever you call it, yes. And that's what they do. They make garments or whatever they're doing, the butcher shop, whatever, and then ship it out. They ain't paying none of us no $2-3 an hour.
And that is, like I said, that is slavery, pure and simple. That is slavery that they continue to push African people in. And we know that the 13th Amendment was supposedly abolished slavery, but we know the one clause in the 13th Amendment that said it shall exist in prisons where one shall have been duly convicted of a crime. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And so,
That's how they get around that duly convicted.
yeah,
But most situations is you took a deal.
right,
They call that a conviction. But what they do is they crime staff you, 8 or 9 charges where it looked like you're gonna do 1,000 years, so people jump on the deals.
Right.
absolutely. And we also were made aware that they put "Made in America" tags on products coming outside of the U.S., like from China.
Yeah, that got exposed by prisoners down in that prison down there on the border with San Diego. They had them down there pulling. When Made in America was going real tough, they had them pulling tags, San Juan or whatever was made in, and showing in tags Made in America. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, like, we understand that we got to put an end to this. We have to put an end to the legal slavery imposed on African people inside these prisons. And I understand that you are working to gain release of some African political prisoners who have been incarcerated for decades. And can you tell us Can you tell us briefly about Ruchell McGee and the case of Ruchell McGee and what you want to see changed about the parole process?
Well, prior to the Marin County shootout in August, Ruchell McGee was known as the people's lawyer because he was a brother from Louisiana and came out here and got caught up in the situation. But he came in prison and he self-taught himself law. And he's got numerous people out of prison. And he was in that courtroom that day testifying. And when Jonathan came in, he decided, that this was his time because they had already kept him way over his limit. So he accepted a revolver or whatever he had and left with Jonathan. Okay, he's one of the only prisoners that survived that carnage. But when he went to trial, they demonstrated that every bullet and every person in that van came from San Quentin guards, not from no sheriff, not from no highway patrol, only from San Quentin guards. So he went through the trial thing in San Francisco, and he had a hung jury. But he didn't poll the jury because his hung jury was 11-1 for not guilty. And when he got to Santa Clara, they did the legal law on him, whatever, and told him that he couldn't defend himself. And so they wind up convicting him by judge, and that's, like I say, that was in the 70s, and he's still down now, but he doesn't have any victims because every person who was killed in that van was killed by a San Quentin guard. And the same as with Romain Fitzgerald, he's been down 60 years, and he doesn't have a victim. He has a victim, but he don't have a death victim. He had a shootout with the highway patrol when he was a youngster, and they hold that against him to this day because they went against the law and allowed the parole board to have the final say, and it's based on their discretion, and they can use anything in their discretion to deny people parole.
Right.
That's how I wind up doing 41 years.
Right.
It's based on their discretion.
Right. And we understand that, like, the laws that they write are they're nothing more than the opinions of the white ruling class, and so the laws that they do benefit them, and they're not they are designed to keep African people in slavery, in bondage, as the pedestal of capitalism, they want that to continue, obviously.
Oh, yes, because they write legislation with intent, but that's only to benefit them.
Right.
Because then they turn us over to pro-board discretion.
Right. Absolutely. And to go forward, I know you just returned from Sacramento. Can you tell us why?
No.
Yeah.
I'm in Sacramento.
You're in Sacramento. Okay, so you're actually in Sacramento. So can you tell us why you went there? And
We BA Outside Foundation has basically been out of Oakland. We had a very strong brother out there, Dr. Afeni, who has now, become elderly and he's sick. So I agreed to pick up some of his weight and stuff, and I brought BAOC Community Outreach to Sacramento. And we sit here, we formed a coalition with the local groups of resistance, and this morning we decided but this morning we took a petition to the Sacramento City Council and the mayor, petitioning them to declare the month of August as Black August.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
And can you tell us how people in Northern California can support those efforts? Let them know how they can support the efforts you have going in there to make Black August in Sacramento City Council a national, like a local holiday.
Well, this month was the commemoration. I sent the Burning Spirit people those our schedule for this month. I'm still learning this technology and stuff.
Yeah.
But we have an email. I'm quite sure that our secretary sent it, and with the other flyers, so that people could know how to contact us and work with us, because that's what we really want. Is the whole community, all the communities working together, and being a progressive force to combat all this neglect to our community that's been happening way too long.
Yeah, I definitely unite with that, and definitely. So we definitely want to appreciate you for coming on to this webinar today, Brother Musa Mata. And
anytime I can do anything, because I know I'm a old guy, and I have to spit it out there while I can,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And
we'll continue to support you and put it out as well. And for everyone, you should have saw the information come up on the screen in terms of how you guys can support the efforts of Comrade Musa. So I just wanted to, just let everybody know that that's what you just saw. And we really appreciate you for coming on. And Olafin, you could take it back.
all right, Hurl.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Comrade Musa's email is mosesjohnson673@gmail.com.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So you can email that address for more information on that.
Right.
All right. And as you know, the Burning Spear newspaper, like I said, we ship free to any prisoner who requests it, and that has been since our founding, or since the paper launched in tabloid edition in 1969. And we currently ship monthly to over 500 prisoners. And I understand that you used to read the paper while in Folsom back in the 1980s, but you hadn't seen it in a long time. And we often.
In 86, when they took us to Folsom and locked us up in shoes, we started receiving very, very less and less communications. They even took the Bay View from us, from the paper out of San Francisco, So, we've been not having access to a whole bunch of progressive papers.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've a lot of times we had to battle the wardens to get the papers into the hands of the prisoners who requested it. So it's been a battle, definitely.
Yeah.
And this month, Black August, the Burning Spear is campaigning to raise $5,000 to cover the cost of another year of printing and shipping to our brothers and sisters behind those walls. And we want to encourage anyone watching this broadcast to donate now at the link below. And Musa, if you can, just please spread the word and send us the names and addresses of any prisoners you would like us to ship the newspaper to.
Yes.
So we definitely want to thank you again for joining us. Uhuru.
All right. Thank you, y'all.
All right, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, now. One love.
Uhuru. All right, Uhuru.
All right. Give it up for
Definitely
Comrade
want to
Musa.
appreciate Comrade Musa. Uhuru.
Before we go forward, can I announce who has donated?
Absolutely.
Okay, I really want to recognize some people who have donated. And you guys just keep rolling in the resources. And as you can see how important this work is, you just hear this discussion, this very important discussion happen, and some of the, history behind Black August and people who were there, who've experienced it. And again, the importance of sending this newspaper in the prisons to our African brothers and sisters so that, African internationalism is spreading everywhere. There's no place that they can't keep the African internationalism out. So that's where all of your resources go. That's what you're contributing to tonight. You're contributing to the legacy of the Burning Spear newspaper and what this entity has done for African people worldwide. And, as mentioned, it has brought people into political life. African people have found the African Revolution through the pages of the Burning Spear newspaper. And, that's what the work that we're trying to continue today. And again, it is our act of resistance. Selling that spear out to anybody on the corner is an act of resistance. Buying the spear is an act of resistance. So, we just want to keep that, going, especially in this month of Black August. And I want to recognize some other donations that came in from Comrade Wendy, $25 from Comrade Wendy. Uhuru. We have a $10 donation from Comrade David. Uhuru, David, thank you so much. $10.
Uhuru. Salute David. Uhuru.
We have Comrade Vince Lawrence out of Fort Myers, one of, a member of one of the founding organizations of the African People's Socialist Party, a member of the African People's Socialist Party, as well as the Spear team. Uhuru, Comrade Vince. He contributed $25 tonight. We have Comrade Ron with $25 tonight, and Comrade Mads with $30 tonight. So, Uhuru, thank you all, everyone so far for contributing. And I just wanted to recognize all of you before we continue on with our program. And I'm getting a signal from the technician that our second guest has not been able to join yet. But maybe you want to say a little bit about who they were and yeah.
So we wanted to have on call the Free South Carolina movement. They are organizers behind the incarceration camps, behind the prison walls, who have been organizing towards the same efforts as the Black August organizing committee. And so we definitely, we will push forward with the program, but if they come on, then we will hear from them. So just definitely want to thank everybody who has contributed it so far. And just to say that you are always welcome to contribute more. That is something that we will not turn down ever. And so we're getting a signal that they're on call. So we would like to go.
We're going to try calling in again.
Call in? Yeah.
Maybe we
absolutely.
called in too early. So we're going to try calling in again to get our guests on. But I will say that we want to get our total up. So just to let you guys know where we are while we try to get our guests on. And again, you guys can go to theburningspear.com and make your contribution today. And let's see what we've got so far. Again, we had a $250 goal, which on this Thursday's webinar. And I want to say that $250, obviously, very, very doable. And, we're going to do these webinars every single Thursday in the month of August. We're going to have different guests on every single Thursday. And, so just continue to come back with us and bring a friend next time and bring your family members. Host a party at your house to view these very important webinars. So that I just wanted to let everybody know that We will be doing this every Thursday.
Every single Thursday.
Yes.
And we'll be going in depth about a lot of the different events that happen in Black August. This webinar, we wanted to focus particularly on prisons and the resistance that happened behind there. And as we spoke of the George Jackson, Jonathan Jackson, what happened behind the walls, and we wanted to recognize Comrade Mafundi Lake, who was, like we said, an Atmore Holman in Alabama. And although it didn't happen, like a lot of the acts of resistance didn't happen in the month of August, we named the Sponsor of Prisoner program after Mafundi, and we want to uplift that comrade most definitely as one of the shining examples of resistance and organization behind the prison walls. And so you have to continue to get this spear out into the hands of every African person on the planet, but definitely we don't want to neglect our prisoners. We don't want to neglect who they white power imperialism considered to be the enemies, because as I said earlier, that law is not, their laws are nothing but their opinions. And so we have an entirely different worldview, and we're going to continue to fight for our brothers and sisters behind bars until every single one of them are free. We want to free them all, free all of them. So definitely want to say that.
The thing that you said about, the law being the opinion of the white ruling class, I mean, that's evident in even the stuff that this brother was just saying to us, Comrade Musa, on the phone, about the kind of, the fact that they managed to legalize slavery, without calling it that. And where they lock up, and it's not a coincidence that the majority of the people that make up the prison population in this country are African people, and that in this process they produce all of these goods, all of these materials from the work, the labor, unpaid labor of African people, and then they justify this the unpaid labor and all of the work that Africans are doing, the backbreaking labor that Africans are doing inside those prisons, by saying they've been convicted of a crime. And so this is the law, and if you don't abide by it, then there's something that's wrong with you. And of course, Africans resisting this law in whatever fashion or form, again, we salute, we uplift, and we push for. So just to say that, comrades, you have helped us already raise $355 tonight. Uhuru! So as mentioned, we had a $250 goal. We have highly exceeded that for this Thursday. So, if you want to keep rolling it in, you're feeling really inspired, and you want to continue the work of the Burning Spear newspaper, please make a contribution to theburningspear.com. And I have just heard word that our guests are here, so really excited. And you want to give us a reintroduction?
Yes, let's start from the top.
Yes.
All right, so we now go to South Carolina to talk with the media rep for the Free South Carolina movement, speaking to us directly from inside the walls. So we want to welcome them to this Black August webinar. So, Uhuru, just want to welcome you, comrade, to the webinar of the Free South Carolina movement. So you are the media rep. We definitely appreciate you being on, Uhuru. So tens of thousands of people are locked up in South Carolina, and the majority of them are African. Can you tell us about some of the living conditions faced by people in South Carolina prisons?
Yes, I can. The living conditions are very inhumane, and they are deplorable. You have brothers and sisters going weeks without showering. Lockdown is basically equivalent to general population now, to whereas in the housing unit, they rarely even come out. The windows are plated to where brothers and sisters cannot even be exposed to proper sunlight. They deny recreation. We also denied access to the law library as well.
Wow. That is expected. I won't even say that's surprising. That is expected of this colonial capital system that exploits our people and that incarcerates a great majority of the African nation behind those walls. That is deplorable, absolutely. So they over 18,000 people are locked up in South Carolina, and as I said, a majority of them are African. And they reduce, like, a lot of the people in the prisons to solitary confinement-like conditions, covering the windows. Is that correct? With metal plates.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Correct.
Yes, it is, Comrade.
Absolutely. So yeah, we understand that that is genocide. That is genocide under the banner of law, that they call the 13th Amendment, that supposedly legalized slavery, that supposedly abolished slavery, but it really legalized it. It continued it into this day. And so we know that to be a part of the genocide orchestrated to take out the African nation, to keep them behind those bars. So we understand that the Free South Carolina movement is calling for a 3-day fast beginning today to press your demands that include the immediate improvements to the conditions of prisons and prison policies, an immediate end to prison slavery, an immediate end to all gang task force groups, and an end to any type of so-called security threat group policies directed towards black people. Men and women confined in the South Carolina Department of Corrections to be allowed to vote. The right to marry and conjugal visitation be reinstated. Higher learning opportunities be reinstated. The immediate forgiving of all medical debts incurred, and free health care for the men and women in the South Carolina Department of Corporations. We don't have too much time, but can you briefly talk about the hunger strike and your demands?
What it is we're encouraging brothers to basically to go according to the requirements of the Black August observation and commemoration. So what we asking the brothers to do and the comrades to do is basically to refuse their trade from administration, to refuse their trade and stand in solidarity, stand for those who have fallen back here, who have lost their lives back here behind enemy lines. So what we're doing, we're calling for more support as well for the Black August movement commemoration, because a lot of us comrades who are part of the Free South Carolina movement, we have been going through the Black August observance for the past decade or so, some of us longer. And so we're striving to bring the awareness that if we lose a warrior, if we lose a soldier, right, now we don't have that energy, we don't have that strength to continue to fight against the system of injustice and corruption. And the demands, we push those demands, and all of those demands are in conjunction with what we are demanding from our colonial oppressors. You just laid them out. This is what we're pushing for, and with our media platforms, the Free South Carolina Movement, our Facebook page, Twitter's account, we have the Free South Carolina Movement petition against mass incarceration. Also online, we want all those across the country and the world to log on, sign the petition, and give us the support so that we can continue to fight behind these walls, working in conjunction with our comrades on the outside.
And we definitely will do that. We definitely want to support the Free South Carolina movement in any way that we can. And so we really thank you for joining us, and we'd like to have you on again soon to discuss these issues more thoroughly. So we would definitely love to have you back on, brother.
I would love to be on the topic summer.
Thank you. All right. So, just want to say too, the Burning Spear newspaper, as we continue to say, is shipping the prisoners to over 500 prisons, to 500 prisoners and many prisons throughout the U.S. And this Black August, we are campaigning to raise $5,000 to cover the cost of another year of printing and shipping to our brothers and sisters behind the walls. And we want to encourage anyone watching this broadcast to donate now at the link below. And to our comrades inside the walls of South Carolina, please spread this word and send all the names and addresses of any prisoners you would like us to ship the newspaper to. So thank you for coming on, Free South Carolina Movement Media Rep. Thank you for joining us, Hurl. All right. So that was the Free South Carolina Movement. And we did have more contributions come in.
Yep.
Director Keeley, do you want to go
Yes, we had a $10 donation from Comrade Tama Gadini in St. Pete. Uhuru. Tama, thank you so much for your contribution, bringing us to $365. Uhuru. So, and I really want to appreciate Free South Carolina Movement for being on this call. I know that they have got off, but it's really important. I think just a really significant presence we had on this webinar tonight. These are brothers inside the walls right now who are doing everything it is that they can, fighting against the system, and upholding the celebration of Black August. So, as mentioned in those various ways to support, please do, and we ship to prisons in South Carolina as well, so that's also good. That newspaper is circulating within prisons within South Carolina. So also thank you very much to everyone who has contributed tonight to this, this very important institution of, the Uhuru movement, the Burning Spear newspaper, 50-year-old newspaper, longest running revolutionary journal in existence today. And again, we had a $250 goal to raise tonight, and you all have helped us reach $365. So I just want to salute to you, Uhuru. What an amazing way to kick off the first day of August, Black August. So, this is not your typical August. This is Black August. And I want to announce throughout this month, we also have a spear sales competition, which is another way that you participate in the act of African resistance. Anyone can participate in the spear sales competition, and if you have the capacity to, go right now to burningspearmarketplace.com and go ahead and order your first bundle of spears and get out onto those streets and sell. All throughout the month of August, all of your spear sales that you make within this month will contribute to, your overall spear sales goal, which if you sell the highest spears, out of everyone in this country, you win some awesome prizes. There will be 3 winners, and that's the 3 top spear sellers of the month of August. And not only will you get a featured, article in the Burning Spear newspaper, you also get goodies like t-shirts, a Burning Spear canvas bag, and so much more. And to the members of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement, you are going, there is, actually I want to shout out one for us named Kalem. He is a returning spear seller and located in South Carolina. Ordered 300 spears already and has already sent in pictures of him out there selling the spears. So everybody get on your game because you have some serious competition. So all of the members of the African People's Socialist Party of the Uhuru movement, if you haven't ordered your spears yet, you need to get them. You need to get the Black August edition. Go out there and sell the spear. And we have also included a regional winner. So the region with the most spears, the entire region gets a prize. So make sure you guys get everybody in your region to go out and sell as many newspapers as possible. And it's going to be really, really exciting. Very, fun socialist competition. And I can't think of a better way for everybody to compete, to sell the most spears and bring more people to this revolution and to the theory of African internationalism. I can't think of a better competition. So you guys make sure to go to burningspearmarketplace.com, order your bundles today, and get involved in the spear sales competition. And make sure that you also send us pictures at info@burningspear.com because we want to see you out there selling the spear. It's not enough just to buy. We need to know that you're selling them. So go out, sell the spear, and give us your pictures. We want to post them, promote them, and, set you as a standard for what everybody else needs to be doing. We also have a contribution that came in from Comrade Ali, Uhuru Ali, with $5. Uhuru. Oh, let me write this down. And we also had Comrade Virginia with $25. Uhuru, Virginia. So let me get that. Virginia is 25.
So that's 30 extra that we got.
So that's 395. Hold on. 25, that's 30. 30 plus 65 is 95. Okay. Yep, so that's $395. Who wants to bring us to $400? Who got $5? We got $5. Put 5 on it and bring us to $400 tonight, which will have, brought us way over our goal. We really appreciate all of you and your enthusiasm for keeping this spear burning. So if you got $5, go ahead and make that contribution. Bring us up to $400 tonight. I want to announce also, again, I said webinars are happening every Thursday in the month of August, hosted by the Burning Spear newspaper. And next week we will be airing the Black People's Grand Jury, which took place in St. Louis, Missouri after the murder of 18-year-old Mike Brown, where the Black community indicted Darren Wilson, the killer cop who killed Mike Brown. And, it's just a beautiful act of, African people being self-governing, coming together, putting the power in our own hands to indict the criminals who attack our community. So we will be doing a showing of the Black People's Grand Jury next Thursday. So you guys make sure to tune in at the same time. It'll be airing off the Burning Spear YouTube TV page and the Burning Spear Facebook page. So make sure you guys tune into that. And so that's for next week, Thursday. And I wanted to announce also really important, again, Black August. This Black August is really and now it's in honor of our dear comrade Omowale Kefing. As mentioned, just his heroic contributions to the struggle of African people to be free. Not no play revolutionary, but this was a real deal revolutionary who, worked day in and day out and was just relentless in his work to ensure the victory of African people. And it's because of his great contributions to our struggle that we are one step closer to freedom. It is because of him that, this spear has functioned in the way that it has, where the spear is, holding up the highest African internationalist principles and ideals, and always just the insight and everything that he's contributed to the spear and to the world. It really is, everyone has to feel the significance, the weight, the legacy of Comrade Omowale Kefing. And for everyone who can, we want you all to make it to Texas on Saturday, August 3rd, where there will be funeral services for our comrade at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, located at 12 Mount Zion Church Road in Huntsville, Texas, or Houston, Texas? Is that? I think that's supposed to be Houston, Texas, or is there Huntsville, Texas? Zip code 77352. And for more information, call 936-295-4986. And also we included that information in the video link, so make sure that you guys look at that. But if you guys can go in to Texas to participate in Comrade Omowale Kefing's funeral services, I know that he would want everybody there, everybody to, come and celebrate his life, celebrate, his contributions to the African Revolution, to hold his name up high, to carry it with us when African people are victorious and winning our freedom. Omowale Kefing will be in all of the books, all of the history books, as a staple of one who got us to this point. Yes. So please make sure that if you, try to go out and attend, anybody who's watching from Texas right now, make sure you go out and attend. Even if you didn't know Omowale Kefing, you've never got to meet this brother in your life, this is your opportunity to go and celebrate a real African internationalist revolutionary. Come out and celebrate the life and legacy of Omowale Kefing. So again, that's August 3rd on Saturday at 2 p.m. at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, and all that information is located in the description. So please see that. And that's all I had for announcements. And again, thank you all so much for your contributions. Thank you for keeping the spear burning. And Omowale Kefing, long live! For real. For real.